Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. And thank you to all of our witnesses today for your testimony. It has been alarming and very important. And as we've heard today, the cybersecurity threats to our energy infrastructure are becoming more and more common and more dangerous every year. Someone said earlier in this hearing that this year looks different than even 5 years ago. I think that might be the understatement of the year. On all fronts, what is happening is really unrecognizable to many of us who were here 5 years ago, and it really is absolutely essential that Congress assert its authority and work to address the challenges that we face, especially now. We know, for example, just in 2023, Texans were shocked to learn that hackers that were backed by the Chinese government attempted to access the computer systems used to maintain our power grid in Texas. And fortunately, there's no evidence that those hackers gained entry. But if successful, attacks like these could be devastating, causing rolling blackouts for people who live across the state and obviously across the country on other systems, as well as cutting off power for emergency services, something we are all too familiar with in our region along the Gulf Coast, and someplace where long-term grid stability is absolutely a priority and a deep concern. So as grid operators work to expand our energy infrastructure in response to growing demand from AI development, which we've also covered a little bit today, we really have to expand our ability to address these cybersecurity threats. It is crucial that Congress takes up transmission permitting reform so that operators can expand and modernize the grid on pace with demand. And while we talk about permitting reform, and I am hopeful that we're going to see some coming out of our committee and out of this Congress, I really hope that this committee can come together to find solutions to this problem and to address transmission. When I hear from our independent grid operator, ERCOT, about security issues, CRISP stands out as an exemplary partnership that's driving real results, and so I want to acknowledge that. And everyone here knows, of course, that it facilitates information sharing among asset owners and operators about cybersecurity threats and leverages the National Labs expertise to analyze the threats and provide program participants with the information they need. I think a lot of people who aren't in this space don't necessarily know and understand the importance of this partnership, but I think it is really critical that we are sharing with the people that we represent and people across the country these examples of these successful partnerships between the government, industry, academia, research institutions. That is something that when Mr. Weber and I served on the Science, Space, and Technology Committee, I was always struck by how well and effective these collaborative partnerships are. And so I think it's just really important to point that out and to emphasize that when we work together, we can work to get things done and to address challenges like these. But as many of us know, things are not working very well in Washington these days, and I hope that Congress will take your testimony to heart and will move quickly on several of the recommendations that you've made. I do have a couple of questions to ask before my time is up. And Mr. Kresa, you mentioned the need for information sharing and analysis organizations like ESAC to ensure that membership includes a broad set of energy stakeholders. What can Congress do to help expand access and utilization of programs like CRISP, give energy stakeholders greater insight into the threat environment? And obviously, always a question, do we need additional funding from Congress to ensure adequate participation?
Thank you, Congresswoman. I think that we've talked a lot about the ETAC today and its efforts at figuring out new models of turning threat intelligence into practical, helpful advice for different kinds of consumers. Mm-hmm. And I think whether it's ensuring that ETAC has the authorities and funding it needs, or if we need different variants of it for different subsectors along the way, I think that's something that would be very impactful, especially as our energy ecosystem moves toward one that's more diverse, diffuse, and distributed and has more different kinds of actors in it.
And just as a quick follow-up to that, because this is an issue we've dealt with in this committee, in this Congress, can you speak to the importance of adequately funding and staffing the national labs to analyze CRISP data and help keep our communities safe?
Absolutely. The national labs are jewels of this nation's ability to do the kinds of technical research, forensic analysis that gives us the information we need to make risk-informed prioritization decisions.
Great. Thank you so much. And Mr. Chairman, I see I've gone over my time. I appreciate it, and I will yield back.